What is up, Titans? Welcome to a brand new Titans Season 4 video. Now, I do want to stress, based on the title of this video, this isn't a criticism video. I mean, I've got a video coming out on that eventually. I want to tackle the issues that happened in Season 3, what I think they should do moving forward to avoid the same pitfalls that Titans seems to keep tripping up over. But this video is one of those kind of genuine want of things that I feel like should be happening in Season 4, not only just from a fan's perspective, and sure, they are somewhat constructive, but this isn't like, oh, it needs to do this because this was bad, or this was bad in Season 3. It's more of like, I want to see this happen in Season 4, this kind of needs to happen, because that would be really good. So reserve those comments for the other video I'll be tackling, and for this video, just let me know what you want to see genuinely as a fan of Titans. And I've got quite a few things as a fan of this show that I want to see them tackle in Season 4. So in no particular order, and these are 10, and I want to compare notes down in the comments because I'm sure you'll have your own desires for what you want to see happen, whether that's with regards to villains, plot, characters next season. Number one for me is, given the theme of previous seasons, and this is me abbreviating what the showrunner has said, but it more or less is accurate, as I'm sure you guys will agree. For example, Season 1, finding each other. Season 2, splitting up, but kind of coming back together. Season 3 is somewhat enduring things as a team in the midst of struggle. For example, Scarecrow, Red Hood, trying to kind of, keep things together as a team. I think you could see where I want things to go in Season 4, to the point of where I feel like this needs to happen. Season 4's underlying theme of the Titans group as a collective, they need to truly be asserting themselves as a team, as per a familiar feeling in that first team-up scene in Season 3, Episode 1, where we actually saw what they were doing in San Francisco. Like, I need that to continuously happen now. I'm not saying struggles can't happen, but given what I just aforementioned of Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, Season 4 needs to be about nothing else but the team together, asserting themselves as a team, tackling whatever struggle or issue or conflict as a team. Number 2, this one is my desire for Dick Grayson, and I think, and this is going to be funny, I say compare notes, but I've got a feeling these top 10, if you will, despite not really being in any particular order, will be familiar to yours, and that is no regression for Dick. That's literally what I've got as number 2 in my bullet points. No regression for the team leader, Dick Grayson. In Season 4, I want to see Dick Grayson, who was waving at Gizmo's goons before he started, smacking them with his excrement sticks. I want to see the one who waved at Scarecrow like this. We need more of that Dick Grayson, the one who put the Titans in Tim Drake's little headquarters, if you remember, towards the very end. I think it was even the finale episode, and we saw them all working on things as a team. I think that will be the meme of this video. Hashtag as a team. But that's almost going off topic. This is mainly about Dick Grayson, but the reason why I brought that up is because he was the one, if you remember, what the cameraman was following. He was checking up on what Donna was doing, what Tim was doing, what Raven and Gar were doing in that corner with the little whiteboard and trying to figure things out. Not, on the other hand, another what would feel like recycling of his arc, which would feel, if they did it again in Season 4, that it's somewhat of a re-released candy bar with just a new mint flavor. Now, what I mean by that is just, I'm all for mistakes, but not retreading the same line of him doing things like knocking out Superboy and then going off by himself, going out alone. It was relevant, and I do want to stress this, it was relevant growth in those first couple of seasons for Dick Grayson. I'm not trying to pretend like I did not know what the showrunners were going for when Dick was trying to find those leadership qualities and everything that followed him that he was trying to grow out of. But, that being said, it's time to move on. We're tired of this. Further mistakes like this would truly be character regressions, and it is not popular with the fans anymore. With that being said, and I don't want to go on too much longer about this one because then it practically would be its own number, but with Dick Grayson being more of a leader role with no regressions after Season 4, so to say, it's time for the other Titans to have some kind of form of independence while being in that team-led team, if you will. And what I mean by that is there was this great scene showing that kind of equal membership within the Titans, in Wayne Manor, if you guys remember, everyone had their own say a few times, and those were great examples. Like, everyone had their own moment to say a line, kind of saying, yeah, I agree with this, yeah, I don't agree with this. Gar stood up saying, well, I think this. More frequency of scenes like that will truly make it feel even more like a Team Titans-led show, despite listening to a leader and Dick still being that somewhat team father role and Starfire being that team mother role. Now, number 3 is personal development across the board for all of the characters. Truly, like, you can do it. It's just you struggle to do it sometimes, Titans, and I don't really know why. Now, I understand, to be honest, with the way that you wrote Season 3, it was kind of like with everything going on, we didn't get that across the board for all of the characters, as in equal character screen time. And I know that's not always realistic in a sense, especially when you have some in leading roles over others. But it's just, unfortunately, we can all see that you could do a lot better, and it's a common occurrence in Titans each and every season. For example, I really enjoyed getting to see the roots of Superboy's character in Season 2, with him going to Lex's house and where he grew up, and we saw Lionel there. I know technically his development this season was getting a bit older and him exploring things with Blackfire, I guess you could say. That's just me cherry picking. What about across the board? Same goes for every other character, Gar and Rachel. I would go as far as saying in Season 4, give Ryan Potter's Gar, Beast Boy, more of a leading role. And I don't always set myself up for expectations, but as far as Raven, I do have the expectation that she should naturally be getting more story in Season 4 compared to the last. And this somewhat bleeds into the next thing, and once again, I don't want to go too on about this one, because then it would be its own little number for this video, but it is related in the sense of how this one practically goes without saying, but with regards to Beast Boy, and me talking about more development across the board for all characters, we kind of do need to see a bit more frequency of his change, especially now that the door has been opened for him to do so. But at this point, I am starting to believe it really is like a limitation of the show for budget reasons. Creating new CGI models and let alone depicting them in an episode to look good with a certain quality of CGI. But with that being said, maybe spend less somewhere else and prioritize your budget into what your fans want to see. The same goes for more powers from the other characters such as Raven, Starfire, especially when you consider with what powers Starfire has now, considering her sister has got the actual Starfire powers. Like, we kind of need to see more action with the powered people. Number 4 is villain or villains, because this is a very interesting topic and it's a bit of a mixed bag because, for example, I really enjoy each and every villain in their own way. Usually the casting is so on point, like S.I. Morales' Deathstroke, I think has had the best Deathstroke presence in any live-action iteration. However, the writing is another thing. I loved Vincent Kartheiser's portrayal as Scarecrow. Yet again, the kind of execution and the believability into how and why he's gonna get taken down sooner, once again, a bit of an issue. So with Season 4, what you need to do is, like, one villain might not be it for a group of Titans. Make this show a bit more realistic, and I'm not that kind of guy who's like, yes, I know this is a comic book show, I'm not after pedantic realism. But for example, as much as I loved Vincent Kartheiser's Scarecrow, there are too many times in Season 3 in where the Titans, with multiple superpowered individuals, could have stormed Wayne Manor when Jason and Scarecrow were chilling in there. Yes, it is a comic book show stuff aside, with the next threat, that threat needs to come across less contrived in those situations that keep them kind of going throughout the season, if you know what I mean. So there is some good news on that though. For example, we have got rumors now of how, if those rumors are true, especially with a bit of an Easter egg in Season 3, setting up the Church of Blood, check out my previous Titan Season 4 video, and where it seems as though the casting for Season 4 villains are underway, and they are Mother Mayhem and Brother Blood. This, at a very provisional level, makes me happy hearing it, just because of this number 4 point in this video, because if handled correctly, they shouldn't fall into the same mistakes, at least as easily, as what the writers had to deal with when it came to someone like Jonathan Crane's Scarecrow. Now, I'm going to reference Matt Sheehan TV's interview with Brenton Thwaites, which I do recommend checking out, by the way, on his Twitter page or on his YouTube channel, because there's some nice clues in there for a few things. And this one's more of a subtle one, but when talking about the villains, Brenton Thwaites did say in a reference about the nuclear family in Season 1, and they were multiple, if you remember, villains, and how they were so fantastic as a threat, which kind of tells me, especially with the casting calls for Mother Mayhem, Brother Blood, that in line with what we're saying, with what Brenton is saying about they were a fantastic threat, and now we might have multiple villains here, it really does seem like this could be a nice way to repair that kind of villain problem they've been having, with just the believability of multiple superpowered individuals in a Titans team, not really taking them down when they somewhat could. Once again, I do want to add a 4B to this point, and that is, with that being said, and this does come into it with villains, flashbacks. With this villain, if they're going to do a flashback, and I've spoken about this with a few people, perhaps this time and this season, we do not need an entire flashback episode. For example, I can imagine them doing it again this year with regards to how it explores how Mother Mayhem or Brother Blood just got into all of this Church of Blood business in the first place. What I would be okay with, though, is if, there was flashbacks sprinkled with those present day scenes. That would be a lot more digestible. It would move along the plot in the present day episode. But as much as I have been a fan of those flashback episodes, there's a lot of people who do feel like it kind of stunts the kind of pacing of that moment in that point of the season. And I feel like you could annotate those flashback scenes in a present day episode in a decent way that doesn't somewhat stunt the growth and progression of what is already going on. For example, if you do that or do a flashback episode, it might get rid of opportunities in the present day scenes where you could have moments for the points we've already talked about with other characters. Give a moment with Ryan Potter, do this, do that, do that, but then when you cut to Brother Blood or Mother Mayhem and there's a conversation, there's like a 35-second moment that helps annotate the line that Mother Mayhem just said when she was like, "Remember when you came to me?" Do you know what I mean? It doesn't need to be a whole episode. But as for number 4, yes, multiple villains is what this show needs, and the Church of Blood could be the first, hopefully best written villain for a Titans team to tackle what we've had in a long, long time on this show. Now, number 5. This one might be a bit touchy to some people, but I do want to say, hear me out here, because there is a lot of logic to it, and that is a new character. Yes, I know what people are going to say, but please bear in mind that Hawk is gone. Dove is gone. Wonder Girl, with the way they kind of set her up with the Argus thing, and at the end with how she didn't go on the road trip, she might have some solo missions with what V said. It really does seem to me, let's just assume here, that she is not going to be with the Titans, and if she does appear, it will be guest role appearances. I do think Connor Leslie, with the way they kind of did that, set up a somewhat exit of the show if she does decide to not, I don't know, fulfill that contract for another. I don't know, but let's just assume she's not. So Hawk gone, Dove gone, Wonder Girl gone. No Barbara Gordon, because obviously I don't really need to explain that. Jason Todd, obviously, since that just wouldn't make sense, even though he could still make guest appearances if in a certain scenario he needs to help out. But as Dick said, you'll never be a Titan again, so, Hawk gone, Dove gone. Connor Leslie's Donna gone. Jason gone. Barbara Gordon gone. So the reason why I keep emphasizing that is because I know I'm going to get comments saying, too many characters. That means the current roster is Beast Boy, Raven, Dick Grayson, Starfire, Superboy, and Tim Drake. So in my opinion there, that's a big cut down. That is like a big trim. So with that being said, I know they were teasing Roy Harper a lot, and that's been going for quite a while now throughout the show. And I'm not silly enough, to be honest, to put massive stock of faith of mine into the terms of him actually coming onto the show and happening. But yes, introducing Roy into the team would be badass in my opinion. I think with Hawk and Dove being vigilantes, one more character, especially with the many that are gone now, being a vigilante is a perfect fit. It fits in with Dick Grayson being a vigilante and balances out the superpowered people we've already got on the team as well. I'm not looking for multiple characters, but it would be cool to have someone else join the team with the current lineup. And not only that, to mention, with the way they've teased and set up this Roy Harper in this iteration, one with a plethora of experience to help out and also assist with the new blood such as Tim, or even people like Raven and Gar in a solid direction. Now, just to add some more evidence to how Roy Harper could actually be coming, I do find it interesting in the Matt Sheehan TV interview with Brenton Thwaites that when Roy Harper came up, he got quite slippy and fidgety, and even says that he doesn't want to say too much, which makes me think that Roy Harper coming next season could be a genuine possibility, but I don't want to get anyone's hopes up. I'm just saying, in my mind, I would love to see a bow and arrow wielding vigilante join the team, given quite a few people have gone, especially 2 vigilantes being gone. I don't really need to repeat myself anymore, but I hope people understand why I say one more character being added to the cast makes sense. Number 6 is new locations, and I'm pretty sure this is going to happen, because once again, I'm referring to Matt Sheehan TV's interview, and, you know, just before we get into that, I know the Titans HQ is in the Titans Tower in San Francisco, but Brenton Thwaites did say in that interview that the leaving off point of Season 3 with that road trip does indeed somewhat tease where things will pick up. Now, he said that it wouldn't obviously turn into a road show, however, perhaps a little bit more of one with more of a road show slash travel elements, admittedly, before they at some point in the season find a place to settle down due to whatever storyline perhaps pertains to what is going on at the time. And obviously they're away from Gotham, so yeah, like that sounds exciting to me, with the fact that we can see the Titans on the road, picking up where they were at the end of last season, and it will take them as a superhero crime-fighting force to whatever Call of Duty is required for them to appear at, if you know what I mean, and that might be the Church of Blood kind of thing. And that is, you know, when they finally track down what is going on there and where the Church of Blood are mainly operating out of. That's what I meant by where they might somewhat end up. But it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Season 1 vibes, if you remember, with how Dick was, you know, traveling in his car, Starfire. Like, at that point, everyone was scattered, but there was a bit more on the road stuff. And, you know, when they were outside the hotel, it just felt like we're probably going to be getting back to those kind of road-esque vibes. And that's going to be such a refreshing feel for the series, especially as they will be more united as a team than ever. I hope. Number 7 is, I know I somewhat touched on the team dynamic in a previous point, but this is the family dynamic between the Titans. This has been just so few and far between the show. Sure, as I just kind of aforementioned, like, we've seen them working together as a team, but I'm talking about the actual fun family vibes that fans have enjoyed in the material or whatever platform it's come out on, and whether that is, you know, Teen Titans family vibes or the comics. We have had so little of that. Excuse my voice here. For example, you know when they were all eating dinner with Bruce Wayne at the end of Season 2? Just fun little moments like that should come a lot more in Season 4. I'm hoping that that will be the case, especially as they're on a road trip now. This can set up for so many neat little elements that between characters where there's fun vibes, family vibes. Do you know what I mean? I'm not after like, oh, like huggy, cringy times. I'm just on about the Titans not only operating as a team, but there's this, they talk of family. The Titans are a family. The characters do, like Dick. But do we see that a lot? No. So give that to us in Season 4. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, as well, I feel like we are. Like, how can they not, with already what we're being teased with the road trip-esque vibes and things like that. So I do feel like in those first several roadshow vibe-esque elements of Season 4, it will be coming. And if it doesn't, then that is completely baffling as to how they could somehow have that oversight. But rest assured, I think they will. Number 8 is to do with action, in terms of, yet again, a lot of these 10 points are consistently going on about the team as a whole. And I don't really blame myself, because the show is called Titans. So that implies multiple people within the Titans doing something together. And what we're talking about now with number 8 is fighting. So I want to see more group fight scenes. We have seen that in Season 3 a bit more. For example, the best one was, well, is it the best one? I don't know. But the GCPD scene, like where Superboy did the clap, Beast Boy was doing this, Grayson and Superboy back to back. Yes, you could count the first scene somewhat of a team scene, but it wasn't in a way. For example, you know, Grayson was on the railings doing his own thing. Beast Boy was doing his own thing, running up the walls. I know we had another scene in Mr. Freeze's HQ, but I'm specifically on about, you know, in Season 1, in where they were outside the hotel and we had Robin doing his thing, and like everyone was pretty close quarters. I would like to see more kind of layups from, for example, let's just say Superboy chucks Beast Boy and then he dunks on someone, or Raven does something with her powers. It's just like that collaboration between choreography would be really appreciated as a team working together. This kind of comes back to with what I said about asserting themselves as a team could be bled into multiple different fields. So choreography, or should I say just fighting and operating through fighting a threat, should be one of them and reflect that. Now, number 9, Dick and Corey. Dickery. Now, I'm sure a lot of people will probably be happy to hear me talk about this one. And, you know, I'm just going to say this. I doubt, as I already said, Barbara, I don't think she will be in the next season given her responsibilities in Gotham. Yet again, referencing that interview with Matt Sheehan TV, Brenton Thwaites was asked about this, and he gave a response of how it was somewhat, you know, with regards to that dreamscape with their child during that Lazarus Pit scene. He viewed it similar to that of what happened in season 1's finale, of how Brenton originally assumed that he was with Dawn and with their kid, and that actually could have been something of a setup for the future, and he genuinely thought maybe they were going to be together in the future, like Dawn outside of that dreamscape. But it didn't turn out to be the case. That wasn't the case. So what he was going on to say with Corey here, this is more of the same thing in how it's, once again, another idea placed before the fans, but not necessarily something they're committed to. But that being said, do not panic. It is fairly obvious that they will pursue this one, and Brenton even does go on to say that how do you kind of keep doing that and not follow through? You can't really do that too many times, so it is a hint at what's to come. So with him saying that, I think it is a safe bet that Dickery will be the future, no doubt about that. Then in season 4, I want to see them grow closer together. It doesn't need to be like heavily 100 miles per hour, but just little fleeting moments in the first 4 episodes of moments where they're talking or moments where they get close again, revisit that kind of setup they had in season 1, and then have that attraction and rekindled attraction from season 1 progress into romantic kind of feelings and care, to the point of where they both realize, maybe Dick more than Corey, because I think Corey's always had that reservation there, for Dick to realize that he wants to really pursue it, like his feelings for her. So once again, just blossoming that idea. Number 10, this is an interesting one coming from me because I'm a big Bat fan, and I've always loved the way that the Titans show has done that somewhat fan service, and I don't want to always call it fan service because it really has been relevant to the Titans show. I completely and utterly disagree with the people saying it isn't, because it's like, I know it's a Titans show and I get what you're saying there, but Dick Grayson left Batman, and there was a lot of relevant story from the trauma that he kind of went through for that to echo throughout the first couple of seasons. But with that being said, guys, a step away from the Bat family lore is needed, and now we need to springboard ourselves truly into the world building of the Titans. It's time to fly that nest of reliance upon the Batman side of things and not have to stand on the stool that has been supporting the show for some time. Understandably, a big part of the show has centered around Dick Grayson being the leading role, which in turn explored his roots, what he was dealing with in terms of the show being picked up with him leaving Batman, his growth into a leader from there on out. But now it is really time to completely get rid of that and shine as Nightwing, the leader of the Titans, given what we've already discussed for season 4 already, but truly this could allow the show to adopt something so far removed from those Bat family foundations that it's kind of constructed itself in, that could mirror a lot more of the Titans' roots with nothing beholden to the Bat lore of everything. And I'm honestly not dismissing that relevancy to the prior seasons, but that chapter is definitely closed now, and it should stay closed. I've honestly had my fill. And this just kind of catapults into some of my earlier points. All of these 10 points somewhat coincide with one another, in that, especially with the already being teased road trip, not to obviously go as cheese as the Teen Titans cartoon in there, in a car kind of thing, but, you know, to develop his own unique feel. I feel like beforehand, we always had this kind of palette of paint with some Titans colors in there, but there was just this big, broad concentration stroke of paint with the color of Bat. And now it is, you know, just what's left on the palette should just be all of these wonderful, colorful Titans colors. So yeah, a terrible analogy there, but I trust you know what I'm saying. And those, you know, I think that brings it all to a close, are my 10 big desires for Season 4. Like, I think those things absolutely need to happen. By the way, it doesn't really end there. I just wanted to make a 10 video because I talk long enough as it is, but there is always more. So that's what the comment section is for. Not only do I want you to compare notes with my 10 desires, as I said, it wasn't really like a top 10, like in a priority of order. Anything that would exist out of these 10 things I mentioned are just as relevant. So if you have something new to offer, let me know. If you have something that you agree with what I said, but to expand upon it, let me know. I read every single comment. But everybody, leave a like on this video if you did get to this point of the video. As always, I encourage you to click on the links in the top pinned comment of the comment section, which is my comment, because there you can see all of these links to my Discord server, my Twitter, my Facebook page, my Patreon, my merch store if you want to go there and support the channel even more. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you fellow Titans in the next video. And don't worry, I will be doing my somewhat Season 3 retrospective video, but I'm just, you know, we've got a while till Season 4, so I'm not really in any rush. Till next time, guys.